Earlier this week, Project Playtime released an early access, and with this release came new lore that was hidden underneath the surface of this new multiplayer game. In this video, I'll talk about the lore that was revealed, along with fully explaining the VHS tape within the game, as well as talking about the goals of both the survivors and the monsters. So without further ado, let's get into... Your job as a survivor is that of a resource extraction specialist. You must collect 6 major toy parts to make a big toy. Then as soon as you collect all those parts, you have to send them through a tube that Playtime Co. engineers made into each location you go to. And once the toy is on the train, you escape using that same train and never mention anything you saw to anyone outside of Playtime Co., as you signed a contract beforehand that keeps everything you saw under confidentiality.
As for your agreement, anything you do, hear, see, etc. is strictly privileged. You're never to share any of your experience here with anyone, in any instance, for any reason. In short, just don't go spouting off about this job. Let's get started.
Keeping the monsters and unethical experiments of Playtime Co. secret and protected under law. That's most of what defines your job as a resource extraction specialist. However, since you are of a low position in the company, Lazzy Playtime doesn't give you the full truth of why you're doing this. After all, it isn't your job to know. You have to get your job done, get on a train, and live another day so you can go to the next extraction. The monsters, of course, don't want that to happen, but it's not because they want to kill the survivors for the sake of killing. They have a controlling force that seems to know what Playtime Co. is actually doing here. This controlling force, which could be speculated to be the prototype, wakes up the monsters to stop the extraction from happening, stopping the giant toy from being made and turned to more experienced like them, to prevent Playtime Co. from causing more pain to innocent people. They send the monsters to prevent the resource extraction specialist from sending the toy to the train heading to Playtime Co., each monster using their unique abilities and sabotages to aid in their goal. Now at this point, you must be wondering why Playtime Co. even wants to make more giant toys, after the failed experiments of the monsters. Well, that is answered in the VHS tape you receive after playing a couple rounds in the game. In this tape, we get introduced to a new character, Harley Sawyer, also known as the Doctor. He talks about how Playtime Co. is on a downward spiral into bankruptcy. People are seeing secrets they shouldn't be seeing, profits getting lower and lower, and more failed experiments. Though he has an idea that can more than likely save the company at large and could even fix all the issues that the company is facing. His idea is called the Bigger Bodies Initiative. The Bigger Bodies Initiative is an initiative that requires a huge change in staff for Playtime Co., making giant toys to replace a large amount of the workers. This change would save the company a large amount of resources, as giant toys wouldn't need to rest, be paid, or have fair treatment. This initiative is the reason why the 3 monsters hunting you exist, as they were the first attempts to make this initiative possible. We even get hints of what roles these 3 toys used to take from previous chapters and miscellaneous parts of the series. In Chapter 2, we of course get introduced to the new monster of the chapter, Mommy Longlegs. In the game, we get lots of hints toward what she used to do in the game station, though we get the most explicit detail of her duties in the note proctoring in the game station and the note transfer request. In these notes, Mommy Longlegs either used to be part of or was sent to, after being very aggressive to staff, high security. After some maintenance and conditioning, she was set in the game station to have an active role in guiding, watching over, and controlling all the orphan children that Playtime Co. have in the Playcare that come up to continue the experience that Playtime Co. has for them, in the form of games. Though Mommy Longlegs was still aggressive to the employees after this point, but the hope was that Mommy Longlegs would improve in behavior. However, as we see in game, these procedures didn't work and actually made her more crazy without the orphans to take care of, because she got so dependent on them that when the children never came back, her resentment to Playtime Co. grew heavily, leading to the events of Project Playtime.
They left Mommy to die alone, but you worked here, so if anyone deserves to die alone, it's you.
Huggy doesn't have an explicit role in Playtime Co., but judging from his actions and making some simple assumptions, we can easily guess what he used to be. In Chapter 1, we can find a VHS named Lazzy Playtime Closing, in which Leif says that this tape is specifically for trespassers, telling him that while we pride ourselves primarily
on our high-quality toys and excellent child care, we also pride ourselves on our security.
Lath mentions how there are some motion trigger systems that activate if you walk past them, which causes alarm to go off and authorities to be called. He then mentions that's only one of the tamer of those systems. We can make an assumption that the harsher security system is actually Huggy himself. Not only is he the one that activates once you actually get into the factory, but he actively chases you down to kill you outright. Huggy being a security guard in the place is also hinted by Roland Stoll's recordings, where he talks about Huggy's eyes moving as if there were cameras in them, and he worries about them being used to spy on kids. It's likely that Huggy is a monster dedicated to keeping the lobby and upper areas of Playtime Co. secure from intruders, being the last line of defense against these intruders, using him to kill them, because at that point they have seen some of the dark secrets of Playtime Co., and Playtime Co. doesn't want those secrets out to the public. Boxy Boo is one of the ones that are very well defined in what he does, thanks to the Roland Stoll ARG. Roland Stoll was a worker at Playtime Co., specifically the head of information technology. On March 30th, 1991, he made a video for Lath Pierre talking about Huggy's eyes staring at patrons and how he worries that there are nanny cams that someone has hidden in Huggy's eyes.
If some creep is hiding nanny cams in our mascot's eyeballs, then it's something that needs to be taken seriously.
A short few months later, on May 28th, 1991, Roland made another video for Lath going back on his previous statements, and apologizing as he talked with the maintenance guy about the previous issue, only for him to say that Huggy's eyes were simply loose instead of actually looking around. Though this belief of misjudgment would switch around another few short months later, on July 15th, 1991, where Rowan is very obviously in distress and worries he's gonna die since they are writing him up for random reasons and someone tampered with his car. In this video, he reveals that he's seen and fully documented all the experiments and tests Playtime Co. has done, and he plans to release all of it to the public through a server when there's low security on a specific day. He then mentions how he thinks he's gonna die by a creature that eats people.
I think they're gonna kill me first. They have something that eats people alive. I don't want to die.
And we get to see what actually happens to Rowan. One night he walks down a flight of stairs to an unknown location. Once he gets to that location, he finds a familiar box. He comes to a complete halt looking at it, probably just accepting his death at this point. And in an instant, he's gone, eaten in seconds by Boxy Boo, a monster only made to keep the secrets of Playtime Co. inside of Playtime Co. These monsters are the beginnings of the Bigger's Bodies initiative, with Boxy Boo being the first one. As the description says, this cute but deadly creature is the horrific offshoot of several other failed experiments, the first of his kind. He was based off his toy counterpart. The original toy was created in 1966, and was later used as the base structure to create this monster. After this, Huggy Wuggy was then made, and then finally the most recent addition, Mommy Longlegs. Though these monsters have now run rampant and now want to stop Playtime Co. from creating more of them, which brings up the last part of the tape. At the end of the VHS tape in the screening room, we switch from the doctor to another speaker. Well, speaker in quotes since we don't actually hear a voice to go along with them. This is what they say.
Can you hear us? Can you see us? Give us a sign.
We've been trying to contact you. It's unclear to us if we can trust you. Are you trustworthy? You must prove yourself. We will send you a gift. The preparation will take time. There is nothing more for you now. The Bigger Bodies initiative will fail. Keep this a secret. Tell no one. We'll be in touch.
It's obvious that this is one of the experiments talking to us, though which one isn't clear. Could it be the prototype? Maybe. Could it be someone else? Absolutely. But for now, what's important is what they say. First, we establish communication with them. They ask if we are trustworthy and send us a gift. They then say the Bigger Bodies initiative will fail, and to keep this a secret. I personally believe that this will be the extraction specialist having to help the monsters to stop the Bigger Bodies initiative, as we know that these extraction missions didn't work to keep Playtime Co. up and running by the time of the main game. So we, as the extraction specialist, have to find things for the monsters that will destroy this initiative. but the way we do it might not end in a good agreement between the monsters and the extraction specialist, as the monsters are still aggressive by the time the player comes into Chapter 1. But for the time being, that's the plot of Project Playtime. So, how was the video? You can show your opinion by liking, disliking, or commenting on what you liked or disliked. Or you could just comment some other ideas about Project Playtime's story. But for now, thank you all for watching, and click this link here to watch my earlier Project Playtime videos. Bye bye!